All right, everybody, welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk,
I remember that was TJ Cornwell.
and tonight we are talking about a couple different people, but chief among them would be Mr. Christopher Smith, played by John Cena. We are back for our Peacemaker Season 2, Episode 1. We got 5 people watching us right now. Thank you guys so much for joining this early in the show. Right away, are you watching Peacemaker? Are you not watching Peacemaker? Put it in the chat and we will read it out as you guys send it in. We also have call-ins open for this show. Where am I? Over here. Call in below, as it says in the description and in the chat. There's a link there to call in. Just make sure you have your camera off and your microphone on. We'll bring you in for about a minute. Give us your thoughts on Peacemaker for about a minute, and then we will discuss with you, discuss your thoughts, everything like that. So, without further ado, if you want our thoughts on Superman, I should start with the DCU. If you want our thoughts on Superman, we did a whole hour-long, hour and 10-minute spoiler and non-spoiler discussion of the movie when it came out back in July. We are now almost September, which I can't believe, but I am glad that it means that we have Peacemaker to watch and enjoy and come back to. Does it feel like it's been 3 years?
No, actually, I could not believe when I found out that it actually had been that long since this show first aired.
Yeah, I like it's one of those things. It feels like it's taking forever, and then once it's here, it's like, oh, it's here. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, but I guess you could say that for everything. But glad to have the show back on. Glad to have it. Can you believe that both season 1 and season 2 of Peacemaker, both of them dodged the platform that it airs on, being called Max, renamed to Max after season 1, and it was renamed to HBO with Peacemaker as the flagship show to bring it back to HBO Max. So that is very exciting. But TJ, we're going to dive right into this thing. So Peacemaker season 2, episode 1. This one is called The Ties That Grind Us. Obviously a play on everybody in Peacemaker's life, with his family, with his new family, the 11th Street Kids, everybody that we met and fell in love with in season 1, obviously. But also kind of a play on the fact that the people closest to us in our lives can be the ones that kind of grind us down the most. Every Peacemaker episode has a little, fun with its title. So that is this one. We are going to be probably going in full spoiler mode on this episode. If you want to start with a quick non-spoiler, just a feeler for how you're feeling about the first episode, feel free, and then I'll match you with a quick non-spoiler, and then we can really dive in. But where do you want to start with this episode, with this new season?
Yeah, I'll just speak in kind of generalities, I guess, to start. I thought it was pretty good, first episode. The intro, I think, will grow on me. I am one of those people, I think, that it just wasn't as good as the first season, but I'm sure I probably said that with the season 1, where I was like, what the hell are they doing? What are they doing in this intro? So I would hope that it will grow on me going forward. But yeah, I thought it was a nice little return to form. You got some characters that we met in Superman also appearing in this episode, which I thought was a nice touch. Just again, kind of building this world, making sure everybody's kind of showing up, and we don't have to wait till, say, Green Lantern to find out what Guy Gardner's up to, or whatever Hawkgirl would be in next, to find out what they're up to. So I thought all that was great. Nice to see Harcourt again. Her and John Cena. Jennifer Holland and John Cena got some nice scenes together. I thought that was really good. Hopefully more Adebayo, I'm hoping, going forward. She didn't really get much to do, but I liked her and John Cena in a few scenes in the car when she was driving him to his interview. I thought that was really nice. And then I'm interested to see what goes on in the, I forget what are they called again? The different dimensions, the pocket dimension, I guess, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, I guess we're calling it. Well, I think the storage unit would be the pocket dimension. Right. I think with what happens in this episode, I think we're in a full-blown we're in a full-blown Earth 2 situation.
Right. So I won't go into like what we were, what kind of was on the other side of the door, but like I'm interested to see where that goes. And I don't feel like it seems all kind of nice and fun in the beginning.
Yeah.
But I just got the vibe that, like, I think they're like, whatever's going on is probably not good. like even like all the stuff that we saw was like kind of happy go lucky, like good relationships. I was like, this still seems like very off to me. And I would be surprised if it's not that far off from the current like world that he was living in as far as Peacemaker goes.
Yeah, less so not being there and more so better at hiding it
Yeah.
to stay spoiler free. Yeah.
So I thought all that was really interesting, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
Sure.
Not much Freddie Stroma. I think he had like one scene. With just he's working a job and doesn't like his manager, etc. And then we'll see where Rick Flag goes. I think he was another one, or Rick Flag Sr. He showed up for, I don't know, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I want to say. So yeah, I bringing back a lot of characters, introducing some new characters that we had never met before. We just met in Superman. So I thought it was pretty solid first episode for the season.
Yeah, I echo a lot of what you said. I think I've only, crucially, I'll say I mean me and TJ just went. We just had a trip to a fan expo Canada. So I've been working a lot than not working at all, but going on a trip and like my brain. And so I didn't get to Peacemaker until about 3 days later. I think you said that you watched it right because we saw each other the day after. Yeah, that it came out. So I got to it about 3 days late, and I have only seen it once. But that being said, I think I came away from it maybe a little lower than you.
Okay.
And I think, and I really, really loved Superman, and I really loved the Suicide Squad. I'm looking at Peacemaker, I'm looking at the Suicide Squad right here, a James Gunn film, and right here I have Superman, a James Gunn film. Big James Gunn fan, big fan of the DCU, and honestly, big fan of just DC and the DCEU before that. But this had nothing to do with any of that. I just think it felt a little disjointed. Like it felt a little. I think I want to say I'm going to give. I'll give it like a 3.5 out of 5. Like I'm not saying at all that I didn't like it or anything. Everything positive that you said, I felt positive on everything that you talked about too. For me, it's some of the other stuff that you did bring up as well, which is like the Freddie Stroma, it's the Adebayo.
Yeah.
Honestly, as somebody who you didn't even mention, kind of John Economos has the most going on out of Harcourt and Peacemaker. So I was happy with what we got with John, because obviously one of the standout characters from season 1, played by Steve Agee again in this. It was really the Adebayo and Vigilante stuff that I was like, man, I don't feel it yet, and I think that that's intentional. And I think that, I just want to see our whole group together again. And I know that it's like the season 2, the Empire Strikes Back thing of, you got to split the team up so that they can, season 1, I like they're treating it like season 1 was it just this thing where we all came together, we did this thing with the butterflies, and now that moment has passed? Or is it like these people, are going to truly become my family? And I hope, and I'm confident I think season 2 is going to be heavily about that, it wasn't just a one-off. These people, whatever happens where Chris is going, I think he's going to be thinking about John and thinking about Adrian and thinking about Leota and thinking about, even thinking about like Myrn, who's obviously not even in this season. But obviously played a big part in the butterfly stuff and played a big part in kind of showing Chris leading to what Chris's big decision at the end of season 1 was to kind of believe in the butterflies, but overall at the end of the day, choose humanity, which, was a great moment. I just miss some of that 11th Street kids energy. And I think maybe that's just the pent up, like, it's been 3 years, let's go.
Yeah.
But I got to be patient on that stuff. But aside from I want those vibes back, I think on the episode end of things, I did think Vigilante's scene just kind of being, it just kind of felt like we have to give Vigilante a scene because we paid
Yeah.
Freddy for every episode.
Right.
You know, but to be fair, on its own, I loved the scene. I thought it was really funny. I thought the banter with his manager, you know, I think that is something that I can very much relate to in my job of an employee just standing there on the phone being like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? I'm on the phone. Like,
Right.
like acting like you're the asshole. Like, which I get that, you know, I'm on the opposite side of the character in that, but I really like the scene. But to me, it felt like Vigilante could have not been in the episode, and that could have been the post-credit scene. You know what I mean? Like, it felt that disjointed from everything else. That being said, a positive that you didn't touch on as much, so I'll grab it, is the John Economos stuff. I really like the way that he is interacting with Rick Flag, the way that Rick Flag is kind of treating him. I really like Frank Grillo's performance in this as Rick Flag, because I was a little, you know, he really is not given a lot in Superman.
No.
So he makes a lot with a little in that movie. But it was a little like, okay, are we going just generic military guy, or what are we doing? And right away in this, I found, I guess we're kind of we'll transition into just talking about the characters, I guess, from here. But a little bit on Rick Flag Sr., I really, really loved, and it was this scene in particular. I really loved this scene where he's at his desk and he's kind of taking it all in. John Economos just called him, kind of explaining what is happening in Peacemaker's house, which was definitely an element of this episode that we could touch on our thoughts on. But I liked as you know, you're automatically going to compare this character to Amanda Waller, to Nick Fury, to, you know, Val, whatever, you know, he fits that, you know, head of Argus, head of SHIELD, head of the CIA, you know, realm that we've come to know so well in all these superhero movies. But I like that he just feels, unlike those other three, he feels so like over this stuff. You know what I mean? like what is happening now? Like, he just feels so like, not even like he's behind the eight ball, he's so over it. And I like that energy that Frank Grillo brought to it, because for me, Frank Grillo, you know, I really like him. I like him as Crossbones, and, you know, in a couple of the other things I've seen. I haven't seen Tulsa King. But, you know, he could be a little, you know, generic military, you know, Punisher type guy. So I like that it seems we're getting a Rick Flag Sr. that's a little more complex. And I'm sure this season he's just going to get more and more complex based on what's happening. But I'll kind of open it to you. Full spoilers now for everything. Well, what would you give it out of 5? And then full spoilers for everything. We can kind of jump around to any character that you really want to dive into.
Yeah, I'd probably go 4 out of 5. Yeah, so I honestly just kind of want to get to the other kind of world that we see.
Yeah. Well, let's jump. Let's get right there.
So boom. Peacemaker kind of opens the door in his apartment, and, you know, well, not his apartment, it's his dad's house, right? His dad's old house. So he opens the door, and, you know, he goes into the it's kind of like a storage facility that is also being used by like other worlds, it seems like. So we see like the alien from wherever he comes from, kind of doing the same thing. And then he kind of stumbles upon another world, and he walks into his dad's house in a different world. And then we see how that life is kind of lived. So it's his dad, Chris, and then his brother, who he did in his world kill when he was younger. And how that their kind of interactions go. And I feel like it's kind of played off as like, you're supposed to think that like, oh, it's like they're all like good guys or something in this world. I feel like that's kind of how, or maybe that's how people are taking it. I'm assuming people assume, and like I assume, that there's going to be some turn at some point, because even just like looking at those pictures, and like his dad still has like the full suit. I think it's just blue. Like it's not.
It's just blue instead of red.
Yeah. Where I'm like, I think that guy's still like, you know, I don't know if he's like a racist or whatever, but I something tells me that these people probably are still not good people in this world.
I honestly, I'll jump to that too. The whole time I watched it, I just immediately took it to be that they were good, that they were like a trio of heroes that are like, you know, maybe take the place of like a Fantastic Four, of like, it's like maybe even the public knows that this is like a father and his two sons superhero team,
Yeah, that could be it, yeah.
whereas because as we know from Peacemaker season 1, the White Dragon was a known villain. Like all the
Right.
cops were like, wait, Augie Smith, isn't he that like, crazy racist supervillain? I wonder if it's like, well, maybe this Augie Smith was also well known, but that he was this like incredible, hero or whatever. But now that you mention it, I could totally see it being and I heard somebody talk about the way that they have that conversation about the imps, about how they're like, oh yeah, those little guys, those little fuckers, like, and they like it's almost like they get a little too comfortable with like the way they're talking about them, almost as if they're not like people. You know what I mean? Like they're like it's just some of the language that they use and stuff. And I wanna jump on too, just because we got about 40 or 35 minutes here left. I want to jump on this guy. Yeah. David Denman, for me, I mean, I love nothing more than when you can, fall in love or just really enjoy an actor over here, and then they get tossed up in the air, and then 20 years later, Peacemaker opens the door, or Peacemaker comes out on the porch, and he's in the shadow, and I'm literally going like, who's
that?
Like, like you figure it's gonna be Keith, but you see him in shadow, so you're like, oh, they're hiding who it is. I'm like, who's it gonna be?
Right.
And I knew two things. I knew that probably Keith was gonna be in this because you see the third superhero in the pictures that they've been marketing with. And I knew that David Denman was in it. Never did I think that David Denman would be famous enough or like a big enough actor to play that role. I thought that David Denman was just going to be like an Argus guy or something like that.
Yeah.
So when I saw it was like the realization all at once, I was like, oh, it's Keith. Oh, it's Roy. I was like, oh my God, I was like, he's gonna like, I just knew this is episode 1 of 8. And I know that this is going to be an amazing role for him. And I'm just so happy because he's so good as Roy, and he was just in one of my favorite movies of the last few years, Joyride. He played the dad of one of the characters in the movie Joyride, and he was really sweet and really funny in that movie too. But obviously, this is probably, other than Roy from The Office, this is probably going to be the biggest role that he's had since then. And I know that he's been working, but I was just honestly, I was so delighted to see him and that he was in this, and it goes from me going, oh, he's going to be like a flunky to like Rick Flag. That's what I thought, to like, oh, he's going to have all these scenes with Robert Patrick and John Cena. And he's going to get to play the emotion. Like, what if there's a scene where, Chris opens up to him and tells him that, like, you died in my universe or something like that. My mind just went racing with how cool of an opportunity is to have this Keith character kind of back in the show. But yeah, I really enjoyed that and that universe, and I want to see what is happening there.
This is just my mind racing again. But do you think there would ever be a situation? And again, we're in spoilers, so just to kind of fast forward, the Peacemaker from that world walks in on the Peacemaker from our world.
Yeah,
kind of. I think he's in the house, and so they fight, and then he ends up killing him. And he literally.
Oh my God, himself. Those activate magic stars helmet.
Oh, those
was the most brutal Peacemaker helmet I've ever seen in my life.
Do you think there's a world where, now that the other Peacemaker is kind of out of the way, do you think there's a world where he has to kill his brother and his father again?
I think that would be.
Do you think that'd be harsh? Like, I feel like that would be like.
I think there's a world where it could happen, to answer your question, but I'm trying to think if it's like, if that would just be too far. Like,
I just don't know if, like, obviously we don't know the story that they're telling. So it's like, I'm just like, my mind's kind of like got ideas, like, where this could
100%.
possibly go.
Yeah.
And with me thinking that they're probably going to turn out to also be terrible, that he might have to kill both of them, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. I thought, like, honestly, I gotta rethink about it. 'Cause I'm like, my mind is just going so many different ways now of like, it's just so, I don't know. I feel like I jump to, I gotta stop when we have to do these quick episodes. I gotta stop going on these like thought tangents. But like,
Tangent, yeah.
I just think that like James Gunn, because I just did it 1,000 times in my head while I was thinking about the show while you were talking. I just feel like I even do it, and I know other people out there do it. You know who I'm looking at because he's watching. I know he's watching. What am I talking about? Other people do it a lot more than I do, and I do it, and I feel guilty of it. I feel like we discredit James Gunn a lot. Like, I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, I'm like, wow, there's like so many opportunities for storytelling off of this first episode, and I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe that's because it was written by somebody who is really, really good at writing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think that's what it might be, actually. Like, I'm just thinking that to myself. But there's just so many ways that this can go. It's kind of crazy to even think about. There's just so much food for thought. Why makes such a great HBO show, and why the week to week is so good for this show, because it's like just like Peacemaker season 1, where if you remember, we didn't even know that it was going to be about the butterflies until we didn't know what Project Butterfly was until Chris found out. You know what I mean? And it's like, that is the kind of thing that's so interesting to me that we really have no clue where the season is going to be going. But before we move on to next thing here, we do have a caller who is our true and loyal listener, Shelly, in the chat, which I appreciate. We're going to bring Shelly in 1 second. Shelly, can you mute and unmute your mic so I know that you are ready to come in? And then, of course, when Shelly's done, if anybody else watching right now, I see we got 6 people watching us right now. Thank you guys so much. Click that link, jump in. All I need is your microphone, just like a telephone call, and then you can talk to me and TJ. Shelly, we have you in. Let's see. Well, you got your picture there. I'll work on getting rid of that, but not your actual picture, but you know what I'm saying. What are your thoughts on Peacemaker? What are your thoughts on the first season?
I liked it. It's just that, you know, I feel like too, whenever there's a season 2 of anything, and there's been so much time since the last season, that you know, you have that catch up which they give you before it really starts, which is good.
Oh yeah, we could talk about the differences there.
Yeah, definitely.
The original and the new.
Yeah. And so it was a little bit confusing at first until I realized, like, I was trying to figure out like what the house meant, you know, at first, like the other house, before they showed who was in it and everything, when he was in there the first time.
Yeah.
And everything. And then
yeah, that was a great scene where he's like, you look like you've seen a ghost, and he runs out.
Right. And then Economist says that he's picking up like a quantum energy, which could be part of the rift from Superman. What, right? So then I started thinking of like the pocket universes and all that kind of stuff from Superman. So it'll be interesting to see where they go with all that. When he went back in the second time and all that happened, it was just like, I kept thinking, like, the look on Chris's face, that confusion was what I felt along with him. And then when you said too, like with the butterflies, we didn't know what it was either till he did. So we're going on the same ride again, only with this parallel universe or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I feel like we're feeling what he's feeling in the moment. He's not saying anything. He's just kind of shocked and everything. So I think he's going to take us on another ride like that, where we're not going to know anything until he knows something more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like that may be a pattern from season to season, you know? But to keep talking about Amanda Waller, damn it, just put her on the show. Just like, I love her character. I love, you know, that she plays her so well. I just want to see her. I don't care for how long. I just want that moment at least.
Well, her voice was in 2 minutes of Creature Commandos.
I know. So yeah, I just love her, and I love that character. So, you know, and how she plays her. So I'm hoping that we get something like that. And I loved how they had changed the figures in the background from the original, like Snyder and the other DC universe to today's. And it was cool because seeing them all lined up and including Supergirl in that, it gave me such a like, okay, this is who we are now kind of thing without bolting you over the head with it. You know what I mean? It was nice. It was perfect. Keep them in the shadows. They weren't all highlighted, you know, that kind of thing, except for the ones that are actually in the episode. So I thought that was,
and that was
perfect.
I thought that was so genius too, because that's exactly what happened with the original cameo. Was the only two that talked was the Flash and Aquaman, because those were the only two they could get to do the cameo.
Yeah, so I thought that was perfect that they continue. They seem to be continuing little themes, like things haven't changed completely just because James is at the helm of things. But it's nice though how they're sort of pay this homage, but are turning the page. Nice and subtle without like, you know, okay, the first group sucked, so we're doing this now. It's not like that at all. It's with all respect, which I like. So that I and when Amelia goes into that bar, I knew she was looking for a fight. The minute she opened the door, I was like, oh, this is not going to be good. And then that fight was so good. So good. And it's just, I just loved that. And I hope we get more of her like that. It looks like we're going to go on an emotional roller coaster with her this season.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So those are my thoughts. And I just, like I said, I felt a little confused, but I think that's what we're supposed to feel. We're supposed to go on the ride again. You know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for calling in, and we will definitely discuss what you had to say.
Okay. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Well, let's jump over to Amelia Harcourt here, because I know obviously the biggest piece of the episode we touched a little bit on, but you know, I would go as confident as to say I feel like she feels a little more like a co-lead this season so far than, you know, last season for sure. What were your thoughts on everything with her, with kind of the scene with the mental evaluator kind of at the NSA?
Yeah.
We got a lot of exposition in that about Amanda Waller, about Harcourt, where she's been at, what kind of happened.
Basically.
And then kind of you know, let's stay on Harcourt. Let's stay on.
Yeah. No, yeah, I thought that was all great. Like you said, the scene with like the psychiatrist, how she's like, well, what am I supposed to do if I can't do this? I can't work for any of these agencies. I can't do what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, what do you want from me? You know? And then I thought that scene, that whole bar fight scene, I thought was really good. Gets a tad harrowing at the end, I would say.
Yeah.
When, you know, it's just like 5 guys like beating up on her. It's like, okay, well, you know.
And the way that they throw her down at the end is like, man.
And I really liked her interaction with Peacemaker as well in the apartment. Clearly there was something that happened. There's stuff that happened off screen that they
very recently
are still dealing with, and probably like an extension of that relationship, and to see how that kind of grows in the next few episodes should be really interesting. But yeah, it seems like you said, it seems like she's kind of like a co-lead. Like this is also, you know, we'll have Peacemaker's kind of story with his brother and his dad, and then we'll have her story, maybe just kind of getting her, I don't want to say mojo back, but just, I don't know, kind of navigating this, not being able to do what she believes she's supposed to be doing.
Yeah, she's kind of got to go on a journey of rediscovery, kind of.
Right.
You know, like something like you know, either discovering a new, you know, way of being that she can do, or realizing that like this is what she has to do and that she just has to get her shit together. What do you think about where do you fall on? Do you think it's really like, oh, Amanda Waller's out there pulling the strings, or do you think it's just, no, you're like falling apart? Like, do you think Amanda Waller is really to blame for her kind of career imploding on itself, or do you think it's, you know, is she so worked up over somebody who's been so closed off for kind of her whole life that we know of from season 1 to now she's feeling these things for Chris? She went through this traumatic experience where remember at the end of season 1, she doesn't even know if she'll ever walk again. With the bullet that she took, well, the shrapnel that she took, really. But do you think this is truly Amanda Waller's out to get her? Do you think this is something that she's got to kind of look in the mirror more so?
I think it's a little bit more of look in the mirror, because I feel like if it is like an Amanda Waller type thing, we haven't seen any of that, unless I'm wrong. Like, we just have not seen any sort of, actively icing out her from these agencies, all this stuff. I'm not sure exactly what the time jump is as well. I'm assuming
I think it's supposed to be
3 years.
No, I think it's a lot less than that. Well, I mean, that's what it should be. But let's dish on that for 1 second, because we have Peacemaker season 1, because I've been trying to bat it back and forth in my brain, but let's hash it out real quick. Peacemaker season 1 happens at a certain time. Then I think they're telling us, well, James Gunn said in an interview that it's about 3 months. Peacemaker season 1 is about 3 months before the events of Superman. That's what he said that in. I don't know if it was Peacemaker press or Superman press. But so that happens. Then we see it's like January, right? Yeah, because they say that the first time he opened the door again was in January. And then it's 6 months later.
Yeah.
So this is like, I would say 10 months after season 1. Something like that. So a little bit less than a year, it seems like, which would make sense, because that gives her enough time to fully recover, in the hospital. And then
maybe this is something that
put her life together.
And maybe some of this is something that, again, I don't know if this is still a show that they're doing, but the Waller show that is reportedly still a thing or not, I'm not exactly sure, but maybe that's something that also plays into it. Maybe she has a part in that, and maybe it's kind of maybe there's some scenes that's like a look back of.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of missing Waller stuff, because really we really don't understand how he's in charge.
Right.
We don't really get that at all. In Creature Commandos, which, again, if I'm remembering correctly, he said that that's about like a year before Superman or something like that, because he said Superman's like 2 years in. But then in Creature Commandos, John Economos' leg is already broken. So the timeline's kind of already broken, I think. But I'm sure there's a video out there that puts it real tight. Actually, there is. It's called I'll pull up the channel in a second, but there's a really good channel that I want to promote to you guys, because it's called A Bit of Everything. Look it up. It's called A Bit of Everything. All the videos are these black backgrounds with like red lines and yellow lines and stuff. He's a great timeline channel. It's called A Bit of Everything, and he does Marvel, Star Wars, DC, everything like that. Sorry. Really great channel. I use it all the time to keep all this stuff straight. That being said, Rick Flag Sr., 100% Amanda Waller's employee in Creature Commandos. In Superman, he's like seemingly just a general, just like a general on a council. And you see Crowley, who was the girl who hit Amanda Waller over the head in the Suicide Squad. She is listed as the director of Argus in Superman, but now you have Rick Flag Sr. is the director of Argus now, who seemingly just took the position. So it'll be interesting. I'm interested to see how they kind of weave it all and put it all together. But I'm sure James Gunn has a plan for it. But my point being, all that like kind of negative space that Amanda Waller is building, I think maybe he's carving out this Waller show through everything else, because it's like, I think you could easily say, okay, well, the show is now, how does Amanda Waller get from fired to back on top? You know what I mean? Almost in a way that like what Secret Invasion was supposed to be for Fury. But something like that. So I'm excited. I really hope that Waller show does happen. In my opinion. Let's see. Anything else you want to jump to? Otherwise, we can talk a little bit about the new intro specifically.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the stuff of where the season is maybe going to be headed long term.
I want to talk about the interview, kind of,
right, with the Justice Gang,
which I think is kind of like the other kind of big part of this episode. just because it's a lot of people that we just met and all that stuff. What'd you think of that? I thought it was pretty funny. I thought, to me, the mic, like the whole microphone gag, like made sense to me, because he literally says like, you wired it, like it's wired incorrectly. Like that's why when he flips it to off, you can still hear them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So to me, that made sense. And I understand the critique of like, well, and again, this is me not really having any comic now, actually not any comic knowledge on Maxwell Lord in general. The only Maxwell Lord touchstone I have is Pedro Pascal in
Don't you mean
Wonder Woman.
the Wish Stone?
Sure, whatever.
Give me the stone.
The argument that like, oh, he's a really smart guy, he would know how to hook up a microphone, you know what I mean? And I'm Guy Gardner hooked it up.
Mm-hmm.
Like I get like I'm assuming he asked him to hook it up because they work for him, right?
Yeah,
technically. So, and he just miswired it. Like that's just like in my head explaining it. Like is that a proper explanation for you? Because I feel like this is like a hot topic.
No, I didn't know that it was a hot topic, but no, that's what they say in the episode.
Right. That's exactly what he says. He says like,
I'm like, I don't know.
Because I had heard like critiques of it. And I'm like, he literally says like, oh, he wired it incorrectly. Like that's the only thing. It's not that he doesn't know how to work a microphone. It's just wired incorrectly.
He's not in the room with Peacemaker, so he can't hear the speaker. You know what I mean? Like, how would he even know?
It had been going on prior to Peacemaker getting there, so at some point you'd probably be like, well, he should probably they should probably figure it out. Like, why is this woman sobbing as we're talking to her? Can't she not hear us? Like, I get that.
Yeah. But then that turns that completely defeats the argument about like, because he's a tech billionaire, because it's like, okay, well then it's not about that he's a tech billionaire. It's about like, well, shouldn't they take the hint? And then you're just like poo-pooing on, it's just a joke. Like it's just a joke, guy. You know what I mean? But yeah,
overall,
I agree.
I
agree.
Overall, I thought it was a pretty good, a cool scene to see.
Yeah.
And just kind of Chris getting mad that it's like, I can do all this stuff. Like, you're not, like, he's supposed to be taken seriously as like a hero, and it's just like not happening.
Yeah, and it's like, to us as the audience, it's, a lot of season 1 is like, oh, you're like, this guy is this shithead, but he made himself this shithead. You know what I mean? Right. Like, yeah, sure, what happened with his brother happened, what happened with his dad happened, but he is still in this position and is an asshole and has no emotional skills because he chose to not try and break out of that. But it's like, now we see him who is genuinely trying and is like, actually, like, like they go, what are your special skills? And his first one is, I'm widely regarded as the best marksman on the planet. Yeah. And right away, they're just not listening to him. And it's like, he didn't do anything stupid or anything foolish or anything at that point. It's just, he's just like, I have like a bunch of tech in my helmets. Like I have a bunch of helmets that have like, they let me do different things, different like, abilities. And it's like, that's like, for a guy who essentially is just the superhero with a gun, like he does have a lot of stuff to bring to the table and a lot of stuff to offer. And he's like, I've been working on myself lately, and they just like play him off or blow him off. And I thought that was really funny. But
I do think it was interesting that it's like, they like bring up all these people, all the people he's killed, and they're like kind of like on him about that, where it's like, we try not to, we really don't like to kill people, all that stuff. Meanwhile, in Superman, Hawkgirl dropped that guy from the sky.
Yeah, literally.
So just like one of those things that you can kind of take it both ways. You're like, it's funny, but it's also very, very hypocritical and stuff like that. Where
and that's something that like, whether it's the writing, the performance, or the directing, just like needing another shot or something, that's something that like, even if he just delivered that line and then like shot a look over at Hawkgirl, just something as simple as that would be like, okay, so it's not so much hypocritical, and I can still read the line this way, but it's not so much hypocritical as it is like he's almost directly referencing that of being like, our reputation is bad enough as it is, we're trying to really clean it up kind of thing. What did you think of Hawkgirl in the little stuff that we got from her, both in the previously on and in the episode itself?
No, I thought she was cool. That's about it.
Yeah.
I would say, like, if I were to, out of the three, like, do I think it would have been maybe it would have been a little bit better if, like, Mr. Terrific was thrown in there, just because coming out of Superman, like, that was the character I feel like people were so down with, and including me. So do I think he probably could have made that better? Maybe switch out, like, Maxwell Lord and just have the trio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And it just occurred to me too, like, maybe you could have made a joke like they're not letting Peacemaker in. It's like, well, you let that Metamorpho guy in, like something. Like that.
You let that freak with the rocks or something something like that. And again, that would be a funny joke and also a good, for somebody like me and for a lot of people out there, like that would be a good like timeline indicator. You know what I mean?
Right.
That it's like, okay, that will help, somebody who's like if you and I have to be like, okay, when's this, whatever.
Yeah.
That would help somebody who has just seen Superman be like, oh, okay, the 6 months, January, whatever that was, I now know that whatever I'm watching right now, it's after Superman. Because he would be there. But yeah, I think that would have been interesting to see kind of the other half of the Justice Gang there. It would have been interesting. But yeah, let's see. I'm running through my notes just to make sure that I did not miss anything. We talked about the bar. We talked about any of this. Any like nitpicks or anything? Any like standout moments that we didn't cover or something like that? Well, here's one. I mean, I should at least cover the pictures I pulled. We have this kind of scene here. So let's talk on this as the last thing. Let's go with John Economos. Adebayo, she's kind of started this seemingly security agency where she's doing private security for people. And then really, like I said earlier, that's really all kind of she has going on. But really, John has a lot going on in this episode that he's kind of found himself pinned in between the axe to grind between Rick Flag Sr. and Peacemaker. So what did you think about kind of John's moral dilemma of, he obviously lies to Rick Flag about what the, party at Peacemaker's house, what's happening in it. He does not tell him about the doorway, but he does go and tell Leota, and then she basically sets up for the next episode that she's going to go and talk to Chris about it and kind of get the information.
No, I think that's cool. Kind of put him in a position where he's going to have to pick a side eventually.
Yeah.
I thought that was just funny seeing him in that truck, just camping out, like just watching it. Watching his house. I thought all that stuff was cool. I'm trying to think, what did you think of? So I guess real quick, what did you think of the party?
I thought, in what kind of way? I thought it perfectly fit the show. Okay. I thought it was like, I didn't think I saw somebody maybe it was, I really don't know who it was. It might have been Geek Buddies, it might have been somebody else, might have been something else. But somebody basically compared that this is what Chris does to self-destruct to try and feel something, the same way that Harcourt goes to a bar and looks to piss off a bunch of guys. And I think that is I think that's like a big part of what it is. Is that it's like, this is what Peacemaker does to try and feel something, at the same way that we saw, because they're two extremes, that what she does is, it's in any other show, and honestly with any other character, but we expect it from Harcourt, is, in any other show, it would be like, oh my God, like what the fuck is happening in this bar? But it's like, in this, it's like, that tracks, with everything. Right. And I'll say the same thing about the party. I'm like, a guy who's that fucked up, who is that drained of any emotional capability, is a guy who now in his mind went, what the fuck? I turned my life around. I saved the world. And I'm still getting treated like this. What the fuck else am I going to do? I guess I'll fall back into my old shit. And then the whole point of the party is showing that it's not working.
Right.
It's showing that it's even that is not even working for him anymore. So that's why he goes, to me, it's like it was from January to 6 months later before he went back to the other Earth, right?
Mhm.
I think it's like he knew, whether it was from fear or from fear of the unknown, he knew not to go in there. He knew whatever it was, I don't necessarily think he was like, I'm going to mess with the fabric of time and space. I think it was more like, I don't want to see my dad. But I think it was 6 months of he was getting that itch. He was feeling that itch and he was wanting to go in there, wanting to go in there. And I think that this was like the last thing that he was like, okay, I'm going to do an all out rager of a party.
Mhm.
And it still didn't work. And that's when he was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to go back through the fucking door. Like, I think it's like, if nothing I can do on this earth makes me feel what I want to be feeling right now, maybe this other earth can be the gateway too. And I think we're going to pick right up on that with episode 2.
Yeah. Shelley said that house party reminded me of that episode in The Boys. Completely
Yes,
agree.
exactly. I mean, Herogasm, you get the thoughts of that right away for sure. But
last thing I just want to touch on real quick. We kind of talked about it earlier.
Yeah.
Did you like the retcon? Do you think that was cool and all that stuff?
Just like what they did?
Yeah, just like what they did.
I thought it was perfect. I mean, I said all along the thing that I want, or the thing that I thought would be, which is kind of what they kind of went with, that I was like, the people that were like, well, they need to explain. I'm like, it's going to be the quickest thing ever, whatever it is. I thought it was going to be like, he would tell people about it and they would be like, what are you talking about? So who the fuck is the Flash? Who is Aquaman or something? But I think they did it in an even cleaner way than that. I mean, to just put it in the previously on, change the one word that Adebayo says, where she calls her mom and says, instead of calling the Justice League, she says, can you call it the Justice Gang? Which again is an interesting timeline thing, because that means that at some point Amanda Waller had sway to call in the Justice Gang for something.
Right.
So that'll be interesting. But yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Completely agree. I think that was
super simple.
Just probably not. I shouldn't say not something you had to do, but just sweet and easy. Just how they did it. Completely.
And it's a really easy way to just be like, yeah, and everything that happened before this also still happened. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't say previously on Peacemaker. It says previously on the DCU, which is implying everything you saw in season 1 was the DCU.
Right.
Which is, good, because now it was. But yeah, anything else? I can't think. I think we got everything, pretty much everything. I mean, there's a couple new minor characters that we met here and there. We have a new Batman character from the comics who's working with Rick Flag at Argus. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where she goes from here.
Oh, is she a Batman character?
Yeah, I mean, not like she's not a huge character, but yeah, she's in the she's more a Batman character than like a Superman character.
Okay.
But she was, I'm getting everything mixed up, but I think she was in the comics, she was like Bruce Wayne's bodyguard. And then in one of the animated Cartoon Network shows, she was also in. It was the animated one with Batman and Katana. That character was also in, because I remember that name from when I was a kid. But anyways, yeah, so she's in there. We also have Tim Meadows, who has not shown up yet. Who we have not met. We got a couple of other people that will be joining this season, but we will get to those, I'm sure, in the next few weeks. But guys, quick show, but we wanted to get on here and talk about Peacemaker. Obviously, we do our show on Wednesdays, and Peacemaker comes out on Thursdays. So we have a whole week of thoughts every week that we'll be catching up with, just because Wednesdays, that's the day that works best for everybody. But let us know what you guys thought of Peacemaker. Thank you guys so much for joining us. For everybody who watched throughout the show, and if you were afraid to put something in chat or afraid to call in this time, join us again next week. We'll talk Peacemaker season 2 episode 2, and please feel free to chat, call in, give us your quick thoughts in any form about Peacemaker. And yeah, that'll do it for me. I've been one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been Norris TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, follow us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We will see you next time.
Boom.